Well, good morning to you and welcome to Voice of the People Television. This is VOP This Morning. I am Moses Humphrey. Welcome aboard.
I'm Fina Okechukwu. Good morning. Welcome to today's show.
My name is Chukwuma Okoro. Good morning and thanks for joining us on VOP This Morning show.
All right, well, Peter Obi slams subsidy removal, handling warns of future tax burdens as aviation workers strike threatens nationwide flight operations. Plus, Petrol blackout, Dangote Refinery issues grave warning. 97% of its petrol may be exported, leaving Nigerians scrambling for fuel. Well, these are the conversations on our table this morning. But before we go straight into these conversations, we'd like for you, first off, do well to subscribe to the page on YouTube. It's Voice of the People TV. Make no mistake about it. Click on the notification, subscribe, be part of the conversation right here. All right? And we'll also be touching on the papers, just looking at headlines that made it to the cover pages of the dailies. But before we do that, Fina.
We have other trending topics to look at also this morning. The Labour Party has called for an investigation into key figures from the 2023 presidential campaign, including Aisha Yesufu, Pastor Itwa Ighodalo, and Peter Obi, over alleged mismanagement of campaign funds. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Aboyemi Arabambi, claimed that over 12 billion naira and $15 million intended for the campaign were diverted. Afenifere leaders, including Paayo Adebanjo and Akin Oshuntokun, were also accused of retaining 600 million naira in private accounts. In response, Dr. Yunus Atanko of the Obedient Movement rejected the accusations, saying, while Aisha Yesufu had already presented audited accounts, Afenifere has not yet reviewed the claims, but signaled a potential response. Meanwhile, internal party disputes continue as a caretaker committee has challenged the legitimacy of Julius Abure's position as Labour Party chairman, arguing that his tenure ended in June 2024. Chukuma, another internal party crisis. It was PDP, APC, and now we're having Labour Party here on our radar this morning. What do you really make of this?
Is it party crisis or party implosion? About the Labour Party. I don't know what to make out of it.
It's one too many.
One too many.
And
the first question I asked myself when I heard about this news is, Arabambi, National Publicity Secretary, of which party? Is he a member of the caretaker committee that was set up by Alex Oti and Peter Obi about 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago?
But you also realize that Abure, even though his tenure has expired, still holds sway, and he's saying that the caretaker committee is an illegitimate one.
It is not in Abure's place to say that. It's not in Abure's place to say that.
Yes,
his tenure has
officially expired.
Has officially expired. The national leader of the party, if you ask me, in the person of Alex Oti, who happens to be the only governor produced by the Labour Party, has set up a caretaker committee headed by Nenadi Usman. And these are the people we should be listening to. These are the people we should be talking to, and not Abure.
The question on my mind right now, please. The question on my mind now is, can't INEC, dabble into this and find a lasting solution to these crises, leadership crisis in the LP?
I'm not sure it's within the purview of INEC to do that. Yes,
I don't think it is.
INEC will only come and if you ask them to come and witness and supervise
elections,
a convention, that is when they step in. You write them officially and invite them. Beyond that, they will just stand by and watch you.
Do you also share this line of thought by some people that the issue happening in Labour Party, it's more like a plan from
an interference
from another political party.
Other parties.
Yeah.
You can't take that away.
It's politics.
But now, if that can happen,
it's happening in the PDP.
If that can happen, then what happens to membership of those people in that political party? For example, how can someone from another party influence your own idea and ideology about your own political party?
Fina, there's a way our party politics is structured. Okay. It's about funding. It's about strategy, it's about ideology. And there are molds in political parties.
Of course there are.
There are molds. So it is easy to plan someone from this You can even plant a non-party member. You know, somebody who is not a known face in either APC or PDP. You can plant the person in Labour Party, prop him up with enough funding, enough financing to go and cause trouble there, internal trouble. You know, so it happens. But let's also look at the accusation that
accusations
by Arab himself about 12 billion or 12 what, you know. Meanwhile,
12 billion naira, $50 million.
I also understand that Aisha Yusufu, has also tendered her accounts.
Yeah.
And nobody could fault it. It's why Ihadolo has said the same thing. So when you look at these things, you discover that it is like the Abure faction, they are trying to cause more problems for the Labour Party. So, I mean, how could Abure say, when his tenure had expired, he spoke off the cuff that, look, Alex Oti and P2B are not, and they don't have automatic ticket for 2027.
Yeah.
And we all know about what they call first offer of refusal in political party ticketing. Yeah. Since Alex Oti is a subsisting governor of Labour Party in the state, he has the first offer of refusal for that governorship ticket come 2027. It's only when he says that he doesn't want to run that they will now throw it open.
So are we seeing another issue, you know, what played out with Alaba coming up again with Abure in this Labour Party as a party as it stands now?
That is, the conversation is around people who are trying to, what appropriate word should I use now? To upset the Labour Party for reasons for now that we do not know. No, but if you put everything together, it looks like Moses said, or who said that it's like external influence. They are trying to, you know, push back the influence, the momentum that Labour Party brought into the politics.
But looking at this happening now, Moses, do you think this can actually happen? Do you think it's going to have or hold any waters? Labour Party is one party that Nigerians know that some people say does not have a structure, but it was able to gather over 6 million votes.
Well, it still needs structures. You know, it still needs Edo elections are, you know, are underway now, and it will be another opportunity for Labour Party to, you know, galvanize themselves and ensure that they get something in that state. That will give them more structures, even in Ondo State. You know, the forthcoming Ondo elections.
Talking about Edo politics, you see that what the APC and PDP, the infighting between, is it infighting? Yes, the fight between the APC and the PDP. They are technically trying to take themselves out of the gubernatorial and giving it to
any other party.
Labour Party in particular. Party. Look at what happened.
So it's up to the Labour now to
put their acts together.
Yes, put their acts together
and take advantage of the problem between the PDP and the, because it's more like they are not focusing on the election. They are focusing on other things surrounding the election.
Okay, talking about
interesting times indeed.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's keep our eyes on that one.
Also on our radar this morning, the Senate is set to resume for its annual recess of September 24th, 2024, after an initial rescheduling from September 17. This was communicated to senators in a memo from the clerk of the Senate, Chinedu Akubweze, on the directive of the Senate leadership. The session will reconvene at 11 a.m., signaling the continuation of legislative activities. In a separate development, Ibrahim Abdulhamed Labeka, Special Assistant on Atheist Matters to Kwara State Governor, resigned from his position. Labeka expressed discomfort with receiving a salary for a role he claimed had no specific duties or responsibilities. His decision was driven by his moral and religious belief, leading him to request that a salary payment be immediately stopped. All right, and Chukuma, this is more like a first time in Nigeria was seeing an appointee saying, I'm not interested again. Remember that here.
Is it the first time?
I think it's the first time it's happening this way. Someone to come up and give this reason to say, why I'm resigning is the fact that I'm being paid salary and my office is practically doing nothing. More like I'm not defending my salary.
Fina, before I talk about Ibrahim, let's also talk about the Senate that is...
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I'm more interested in that also, because, you know, they say a man whose eyes on fire does not chase rats. Exactly. They scheduled to come back a particular time. Why would they take it? But let's look at what...
Okay, so what I don't know the kind of position, to be very honest, I've not looked into Ibrahim's position, because I also know that governors have a way rewarding
people
by appointing special assistants, senior special assistants, aides, and all of that in some states. Prior to the 2023 election, Nyesom Wike had appointed like 30,000 aides, SAs, SSAs, and all of that. So I don't know if Ibrahim falls into that category.
He's a special assistant on artist matters to Kwara State government.
On artist matters too.
Yeah.
Then it
basically he coordinates entertainers for the state.
Okay, so the issue now is that probably Ibrahim himself doesn't understand the fact that he's been given a responsibility. So he should mobilize the artists in Kwara State. And when he does that, he now goes to the governor to seek for approval for funds for policies churned out by his ministry.
With this recent economic challenge.
Exactly. That's where I'm coming to. With
economic challenges.
With the things in the country right now, do you think holding concerts, events, is what people would want?
No,
so
but
he probably sees his position as...
Moses, that is a money-spinning venture.
Holding concerts at this time.
Entertainment.
Yes, it is.
At this point in time,
what do you mean by
where people don't have money to eat food, who can buy the tickets and the seats?
You think people still do?
No, the fact that some people are poor doesn't mean that some people are not rich. People can still afford cinema tickets. It's a money-spinning venture. Tourism is still thriving in other parts of the world.
It is. But personally, I think at this time, I don't think that's what the government should focus on. So if it's trying to galvanize, bring people from here and there to organize events.
You had a Rocha Sokorocha who had special assistant on...
enjoyment.
But
that was before we move into multidimensional poverty in Nigeria. I hope you know.
Poverty has
now let's also look at the senators now moving or shifting goalposts of their redemption. You said you were interested in that.
Yes, I'm interested in that because, I mean, it is 1 year down the line, and they have been convening. Probably they will just come and talk about the 2025 budget because September is gone by half. They will start putting together the budgets, and you know what we usually get. So can the Senate, in the past 1 year that were inaugurated, can they tell us what they have done for us?
Well, I can tell you a few things that they've done.
Like
new national anthem, Swift one, and not just that too. We have the student loan. Okay, you want to know what they've done, a whole lot more.
Okay,
and some of them also have given out, polls to people in their constituency. Some decided also to post wedding, mass wedding.
Let's see what happens between now.
Let's see what will have happened, especially now that the Nigerians are, clamoring, and Nigerians, there's a possibility that there might be what has been tagged Fearless October. So let's see what will happen if the Senate will, make any rules in that direction. Well, away from that conversation, let's look at the papers now. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look at headlines from the pages of the papers.
Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. Looking at the front pages of the national dailies today, we have the Daily Independent newspaper, The Guardian, The Daily Trust, The Nation, The Vanguard, The Punch, and the Nigerian Tribune. I will start off with the Guardian newspaper. It has its bold headline this morning to be Edo Guba, Fragile Peace Deals Talks, Insecurity, Apathy, Fears. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And we have a pictorial of the the candidates, that represent different political parties, also attached to that headline. PSC bars police officers from investigating land marital matters. PSC bars police officers from investigating land marital matters. That is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Protesters demand release of detained PDP members in Edo. Hackers intensify attack on educational institutions for ransom, says report. I'll take that again. Hackers intensify attacks on educational institutions for ransom, says report. That story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Flooding. Allow dam repairs cost 762 million naira in 12 years. 26 million naira before collapse. Flooding. Allow dam repairs cost 762 million naira in 12 years. 26 million naira before collapse. CUPP to Tinubu, you have lost touch with reality. That story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Bandits block Zamfara highway, abduct travelers, kill soldiers. Obtaining the Nigerian passport without tears is an editorial, and that story is on page 12 of the Guardian newspaper. Foreign patronage in equities dips by 73% in 8 years. And we have another picture, a pictorial there, where we have people putting on JC, Nigerian JC also. And beneath that pictorial, I have another headline. There is Beyond Fame and Fortune. Why sports stars battle depression, poverty at career sunset. Beyond Fame and Fortune. Why sports stars battle depression, poverty at career sunset. And those are the headlines that made it to the cover page of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
All right, then. Well, let's move away. Let's move to the Nigerian Tribune now. Headlines from the Nigerian Tribune. 259 killed, over 1 million affected by flood in 29 states. That's according to NEMA. UN humanitarian agency allocates 6 billion naira for Borno, Adamawa, Yobe. And then you go on top of the nameplate. Headlines there. Nigeria signs partnership agreements with UK, gets 589 billion naira support. CBN directs service providers to commence POS transaction tracking. Shetima receives Odua Investment Management, says no going back on Nigeria's digital revolution. And then, aviation workers to shut down airports September 18, reject 50% IGR deductions. NUT warns FG against unchecked commercialization of education in Nigeria. FG signs CTC agreement to reduce airline operating cost. Oyo, bricklayers, shoemakers, hairdressers, others to pay taxes. As Assembly passes presumptive tax bill into law. All right. And then the president's visit to King Charles there in pictures. Underneath that one, Southwest states arrive at plan of action to tackle food shortage. Zone sure of buoyant food harvest next season. Dawn Commission reports to be submitted to Sanwo-Olu Forum Chairman. And Tinubu Adeleke, Oyetola, Oyinlola, others mourn as Aramolaro Owa Obokun of Ijesha land dies at 86. Edo, APC 16 others sign peace accord. PDP maintains stance, refuses to sign. I don't know what difference that makes though. Bandits on motorcycles block Zamfara highway, abduct many. All right then. These are the headlines from the Nigerian Tribune.
And from the Tribune, we move over to the Daily Trust newspaper. The banner headline reads, Borno flood. Borno flood. My wife, 5 kids still missing. That's according to a survivor. I heard the riders. I thought I would die with my 6 children. Canoe operators collected 100,000 naira to rescue my sheep. Nigerian Governors Forum visits affected areas, donates 100 million naira. Fintiri, 50 million naira. 259 dead, over 1 million affected in 29 states. That's according to NEMA. And just below the nameplate, you have APC state chairman worried over hardship. 400 deported Nigerians arrive Abuja airport from United Arab Emirates. Bandits kill 3 soldiers, others in Zamfara. Abduct 4 at Katsina Hospital. There's another headline. Okay, there's a pictorial there. It's about the Borno flood. You know, people who are using canoes, and there's a picture of a submerged buildings there. And just below that, you have another headline. 30 die in Kaduna, Kano road crashes. Edo governorship, PDP declines to sign peace accord. Fuel queues resurface in Abuja. And the last but not the least, Nigeria must investigate attacks on journalists. That's according to the International Press Institute. And that will be all from the Daily Trust newspaper.
And that would be all from the headlines this morning. More to come at 9 o'clock from 9 to 10, when we have a newspaper review. In the meantime, up next, on VOP this morning, Tinubu's shocking plan to end air subsidy for Nigerians revealed as aviation workers' strike looms. Let's have this conversation when we come back.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending, from politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People Television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag, if it's trending, we bring it on.
Thank you for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning. A Labour Party's Peter Obi has criticized the Tinubu's administration's harsh policies in handling of the fuel subsidy removal, questioning the lack of transparency in managing the saving and hinting that more severe policies like increased taxes may soon follow. He warned that Nigerians may face further hardship, including potential new subsidies on essential commodities. Despite the government's reassurances, the ongoing fuel scarcity has led to a petrol price increase from 680 naira to a litre to 855 naira per litre, with long queues persisting across the country. In a related development, Nigerian Aviation Union has announced a strike scheduled to begin on September 18, protesting a 50% revenue deduction, a policy affecting key aviation agencies. The strike threatens to disrupt air travel, with unions citing financial strain on safety operations. But meanwhile, human rights activist Omoyele Sowore criticized the Tinubu government and Nigeria's Department of State Services, DSS, after a directive for his arrest was issued. He accused the administration of focusing on silencing dissent instead of addressing the nation's security challenges. With us in the studio this morning to help explain the topic is Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned journalist, a social critic, and a political analyst. And also we have with us also a lawyer who is Barrister Asim Adams, a social and political commentator. Joining us virtually is Mr. John Akerele, a journalist, a public speaker, a serial entrepreneur, farmer, and a political analyst. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. John.
Good morning. Good morning to our viewers. Thank you for having me.
All right. I would like to start with you, Mr. Fanimo. This morning, we're hearing there's a strike illuminating the aviation sector. Over 50% deduction from the internally generated revenue. And this is coming from a government that is telling Nigerians to hold on for the meantime, that they have policies that are working, and the whole policy is in favor of Nigerians, even when we're having untold hardship that have also moved to multidimensional poverty in Nigeria. What do you make of this?
Aviation industry is a very, very sensitive industry. And there are no two ways to quality assurance in that sector. If government in its own wisdom wants to generate more funds, they shouldn't even touch that sector the way it's been touched now. Because it's an industry where you don't cut corners. Safety is universal in the aviation sector. Whatever happens here in Nigeria is going to affect the sector globally. That's why Nigeria is a signatory to ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization. And if these workers are complaining that with the skyrocketing inflation going on, they need enough funds to maintain facilities like the towers, the radar, the hangars, and all that. And if you are saying that you are removing 50% of the revenue generated by this organization, given the fact that what you go to market to buy today, in fact, in the next 2 hours, if you go back, you are not likely to meet the same amount in the market. So it is something that government has to review so that we don't begin to have crisis in that sector.
Saying that government needs to review this, are you of the opinion now that the government don't really, weigh how will I put it now so that it not sound a bit offensive? Okay, weigh the consequences of any action that they want to bring down to Nigeria.
As at the time that policy was being made, the situation then is not what we have now. You understand?
So why would they insist on carrying it out now, even with the present economic challenge that Nigerians are having?
There's something that is so funny about management. It borders on ego. Most people, when they're in management, when they take a decision, they find it very hard to reverse that decision because they feel that it reduces the pride of the management. But in this case, this is something that revolves around life.
Are you of the opinion that we're moving into fascism
They should go back to the drawing board. These people are not just machines. Okay. The workers are not machines. And they have templates to show that this 50% reduction in revenue will not serve them. And they should listen to them.
All right. Well, let's bring John Akerele into the conversation. John, good morning once again. Now, the strike by aviation workers would have commenced from August 19, actually, August 21, I beg your pardon. That was when they initially talked about going on strike, when this policy came up, 50% to go to government, and they would have 50 to work with. Now, government did say, shelve your strike. Look at the situation of the country. Look at what disruption to flight in the nation would cause. And then they shelved it. And then the conversation around the reduction on what goes to government came up. They were saying the government takes 20%, that would be good enough, and they can work with what is left. But apparently, government doesn't seem to be listening. Do you think this government is stuck in its path to continually tax agencies and Nigerians and maybe drain the economy? What are your thoughts, really?
Thank you very much. Good morning to our viewers once again. Moses, if you look at the antecedent of our present president today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from Lagos State, how was he able to increase the IGR of the state? It's through multiple taxation era. And in that case, if you go back to history, you will see that was how I was able to generate a lot of funds from the state. And that is what is actually happening now. I'm surprised that Nigerians are complaining because this is what he promised, during the campaign. If you listen to me very well, he said it categorically clear. He said, slow down the economy, tax them more, and also reduce the buying power. These are the things he said to us.
Well, I'm not certain I heard those exact words.
No, it's there on record. Those are the things he promised. So he's actually fulfilling the promises of his campaign to Nigerians. So maybe we were not listening, and now we are getting to know these are things. But Moses, what we should look at is how many areas of our economy is being subsidized by the government. And that's where the issue of transparency comes into place. When you are taking over leadership, you need to have an holistic approach to what it has been or what it used to be and what you want it to be. For me, I see that there's no transparency in this case. And so this government should, be transparent to Nigerians. Let us know the areas we are paying subsidy. Let us know how much we are paying, so that in a case where you want to bring about reduction or negotiation, everybody is in the know and nobody is crying anymore. But for me, let's look at the impact if this is taken away from the people. It means that it's going to reduce our economic values in terms of the number of flights that we're able to carry out in the country. It means that there'll be so much workers that will be laid off. It means that the money within the system will not be able to, enough to service all that they need to do in terms of their own workings as in an industry. So for me, it takes a holistic approach where the stakeholders need to sit down with the government. Then the government also, on the other hand, must be willing, show that body language that they are sincere, and then they can have this dialogue, look at a win-win situation for both the government and also this industry, because it's also a very vital industry that we cannot just let to go down the drain like that.
All right, Barrister Adams now. This plan of the government to continually tax this particular sector, let's focus on this sector now, aviation sector. And they are saying we can't operate with half of what comes in. It's not exactly a money-making agency. It's cost-driven. What are your thoughts on this?
You see, though I'm not an aviation expert, that particular industry, for me, is elitist. If I want to say the aviation industry in Nigeria has been in an opaque form, we don't really know exactly what is going on there in terms of what comes in and what goes out. But recently we had a situation where the Minister of Aviation, I think Festus Keyamo, came in there, did some reforms, which we were, applauding, as the case may be. But, be that as it may, recently we now heard about whether 20% deduction, etc., as the case may be. The question I've asked is this: the federal government is becoming a behemoth. They want to put their fingers, everywhere they find themselves. In terms of trying to get finances, what they are doing with those finances, I don't really know. Now, if you go back and you say you want to tinker, with what is on ground by deduction of about 20% revenue that comes to the aviation industry, as the case may be, the question I'm asking is this: what are you doing with that percentage you are taking away from? Now, are you not going to leave that particular industry bedridden, as the case may be? What about the benefit for workers? What about the improvements, the airspace, etc., as the case may be, of that particular industry? So what is going on? These are questions that must be answered. Not about, every minute of the day you're talking about deductions, do this, do that, or take this for us, or government, as the case may be. That's why things, what they need to do, what the government needs to do is for them to go back to that table, what they call collective bargaining table, and negotiate with them, maybe give them reasons why this particular policy has to come into play, and listen to what the workers have to say, and for their benefits.
All right.
Okay, now to you, John. You know, you made mention of watching the body language of.
Before John responds, before you ask a question, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Thank you so much for staying with us. I was asking John a question before we went back on that break. John, good morning. Are you there?
Good morning, I'm here.
All right. You made mention of the body language of this present administration, you know, in making sure that Nigerians and their cries are being heard. Are you also of the opinion that they don't really listen to us, given the fact that Refinery made a statement yesterday saying that the present administration is moving into fascism? You know, how they don't listen to what people say, and also their sweet movement in picking those that criticize the policies of government that is not really in tandem with what the people expect.
Okay, for me, I think the first thing we need to understand is when an administration is on board, how do they receive criticism? How do they listen to opposition? And if you look at this administration, I can give you a number of people and their names that have spoken in the party administration and they have been picked up. And so for me, it's not a good sign for this administration. Rather, it's just for you to look at the message, forget the messenger. What they are saying, does it really make sense to you? In terms of what are they saying? They said to you that the cost of governance is quite high. And if you are saying that we don't have enough money, but the enough money is not showing on the part of the government officials. Enough money is not showing that there's reduction in cost of governance, even by reducing your cabinet members. It's not showing the number of allowances that is going to the presidency, even to the governors, the House of Assembly members, and the senators. And so we are not saying that the so-called political class are tightening their belt. We are not seeing them tightening their belt. Rather, we are seeing them showing luxurious lifestyle. We are seeing them showing largesse. And even when you want to protest, imagine a senator telling you that while you are protesting, they will be eating. So it shows to you that these are people and statements that show that they are totally disconnected from the people. And so anybody who speaks now, you know, it reminds us of the era of IBB, you know, the military era where you say anything against the government, you are being picked up the next day. And that for me is not really a good thing. But for me, I think what everyone should do is that listen more to your opposition, because they are the ones who are giving you solutions to problems and they want you to do better. And that's why they are putting you on your toes. Go back to your working room and ask yourself 3 questions. Are Nigerians better off before you came in as a president? That's 1. 2, are we actually cutting down the cost of governance? 3, we have removed subsidy, we have saved more money, we have shared more money to the states. I, as a president, can I categorically say I can go to any state of the federation now so that the people there are happy? Even those who are your party members are also still complaining. So it shows that your policies and all that you are doing presently is not working. And so you need to go back to the drawing table, rejig your cabinet, and ask yourself, how can we tighten our belt? And let people see that indeed you are tightening your belt before they can see that they won't tighten their own belt as well. So
all right, John. Thanks for that take. Right. Please stay with us. We'll come back to you. Let's bring you back to the studio, to Barrister Adams. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Petrol, has raised the alarm that probably the president is going to remove subsidy on air, making allusions to removal of fuel subsidy, removal of electricity subsidy, and all of that, the suffering of Nigerians. We understand what's going on. But there's a report that was released like 2 or 3 days ago, and it said that Nigeria recorded trade surplus of 2.9 trillion naira in the second quarter of this year. And that is more like a glimmer of hope. You know, there's hope in the horizon. And the government has come out to say, look, the president even said in China, I'm a reformist. You know, he talked about making reforms and that there will be little pains here and there. Barrister Adams, do you think that Nigerians are quick in judging this administration as not being humane? Do you think that the government is not in the right direction, given the fact that, look, things are very bad, but the government is also making promises that, look, there has to be a little suffering before we get to the El Dorado?
Yeah, thank you very much. I believe, I get dumbfounded and befuddled when I listen to the present administration spokespeople trying to launder their image. You know, the reason and giving excuses for their non-performance. Let me tell you, 2027 is very close by again. If I want to contest as the governor of my state, for instance, the first thing I've advocated and asked them to do is to go and pick up a copy of the Nigerian Constitution. Pick up that copy of the Nigerian Constitution. It's not expensive. Go to, you know, section 14, sub 2B of that particular constitution. Read it. What is it talking about? That if you get voted into power as a governor, as a president, that the foremost thing you have to do is security and welfare of the Nigerian people. And if you cannot deliver on security and welfare, there is no need for you to keep remaining there. Now, security encompasses a lot of things. Welfare also. In fact, all governments all over the world, this is the fulcrum on which popular governance is based. Now, in Nigeria today, we are progressing, or let me use the word that we are progressing negatively. Why am I talking this? In 1999, I remember that I was thinking that we have gotten a democracy that is going to last for at least 10, 15, 20 years. And that with time, Nigeria will progress in geometric progression. But it has not happened. Now, we were thinking that the Tinubu administration, being that one, he's been a Democrat, he's the one that fought for this democracy, one of those who fought for democracy, should have had his timetable of how to govern Nigeria before he will contest that particular election. But there was no headway. Now, what is happening is this. Policies from us here and there, policies that are not working, naira floating and whatever as case may be, English and jargons everywhere, words that they use that we don't understand. Meanwhile, the common man on the street is suffering.
Exactly what? Sorry, Barrister. Okay. Exactly, the suffering is the issue now. Good. But the president says, I'm a reformer. Yes. He removed fuel subsidy. And within the period he removed fuel subsidy, we discovered that the federal government made a lot of money, which they now shared. States that used to have 6 billion naira as their monthly fact started receiving 10 billion, some 12.
Absolutely.
Some of the Niger Delta states got as much as 28 billion naira. Yes. You know, so wasn't that a good policy to remove the fuel subsidy? That is one. Two, he's also saying that, look, I am a reformer. That people have to be patient a little for things to start getting better. And one of the things that the report said was that, look, there was reduction in imports and a growth in exports. What it means is that Nigerians are exporting more, apart away from the oil that is the monoproduct. That was what the report said, that there was more export away from the oil. So isn't that a good sign that, look, he is trying to rejig the economy and make it more productive away from the oil sector? That's the emphasis. That's what I want us to work around.
No, you see, Mario Kumo, said that, Nigerian politicians, for instance, they campaign in poetry, but they govern in prose. That is what is happening here right now. Now, I am a reformer. I don't doubt you that you are a reformer. But when you bring in some reforms that are not working, and it has not trickled down, to those whom you prepare to serve, then what kind of reforms are you, putting in place? These are the questions we have asked. Number one is this. They told us that fuel subsidy has been removed. Nobody's against removal of fuel subsidy. Now, before you remove that particular fuel subsidy, there should have been a plan, a kind of Marshall plan, that if I take this off to cushion the effect of this removal, this is what I'm going to do. None of them is in place.
Yes, road has CNG buses.
I'm going there. Let me tell you. You are talking about CNG buses we saw on television and newspapers. That is what I call audio. For me and those of us who live in Port Harcourt, where I come from, let me tell you, for example, is this. I have not seen even a CNG engine that I have seen operating anywhere in that particular area. The only one we saw was about 39 pieces that was displayed at Aso Rock and showcased. But can I enter a CNG bus from Yanyan to Asokoro in Abuja today? I have not seen anybody that told me that he has entered and paid such amount of money. That is number one. Number two is that you're talking about export. What are you exporting? I want to ask the question, what is Nigerian government exporting? Let me tell you, by the indices I got from the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics just about 3 days ago, it showed that 95.9% of Nigerians' export is oil, crude oil, not cassava, not tomatoes, not fish or whatever the case may be. 95.9% of our export resources is crude oil. That is why we are suffering. So when you say you have opened the space for export, we want to know those things you are exporting out of Nigeria. Right. So don't do this audio television, whatever, gerrymandering and grandstanding with no airports. Come out and be playing. I want to give you finally on this is this. What I'm saying, my king, there was a particular king in my place that he was not performing. There was famine, there was strife, there was hunger and plague in our community. What he did, it has never happened before. He came out and said, look, I believe I'm the one that is bringing this bad luck and I cannot govern this particular community again. I want to resign. And for the first time, I saw a king who abdicated his throne. Today he's still alive. We revere him because he came out to say, I cannot manage again. Let other people take over. We revere the king today as the case may be.
Thank you very much, Barrister Adams. Let me come to Mr. Daly now. In this conversation, let me bring us back to the conversation of the airports and the possible percentage that government is asking for, and this government's desire to rake in as much money as possible. Airport workers have said they will embark on strike. Do you foresee that happening? Bearing in mind that doctors went on strike the other day to protest the kidnap of their colleague who's been in abductor's den. We don't even know if she's still alive, for over 8 months. And right after the warning strike that they gave, they were told that their salaries would not be paid. ASU have also embarked on strike, and after that, they were told their salaries would not be paid. Aviation workers are threatening to go on strike. Do you think this government will let that happen? And if the strike happens, what do you think, what do you foresee happening really? Considering the fact also that that sector is a critical one.
Yes. Let me tell you, if a strike, a general strike, nationwide strike, is going to succeed in this country, there are two critical sectors. I mean, three. The aviation sector. Then you have the transport sector, which is NURTW, and RTN and all that. And the last one, the tanker drivers arm of Nupeng. Those are the three planks. Any labor center that wants to embark on strike and make a success of it would talk into buying into that strike. That is to tell you that aviation sector is critical and government will not want to toy with it because it has international dimension. That means if these people go on strike, towers will not work, the radar will not work, other services in the aviation sector will not work. Then nobody is flying in, nobody is flying out.
even if they are told that they will lose their jobs if they do, assuming.
Let me tell you, you don't pick aviation workers on the street. These are people that are trained, technically trained in that sector. So government will not want to toy with this strike. I can bet you.
Mr. I hope you understand that there was a protest that also happened in Nigeria, 1st of August to 10th of August. And after the protest, the present administration, the president came up to say, I've heard your cry. And what happened next was the purchase of the Escalade. And then we have protesters also who embark on that protest being remanded. 10 of them now are being charged with treasonable felony, but now they've actually decided to grant them bail on 10 million naira like some. And also, we have people who also have chimed in or talk about the policies of the government and how it's not working. DSS also picked them. We have the recent one to Bishowore. There was a directive for him to be arrested. Now, are you also saying that with all this happening, that the government will still heed to the demands of the aviators?
Let me tell you, the general protest, there could be arrest, there could be detention, there could be charges and all that. But let me tell you, these people, they don't ride on the roads, they fly, they don't want disruptions to their activities, they know the consequence of shutting down the airports. Tell me any strike in this country that succeeded without aviation sector being part of it and no pen. That is the area where it touches them too. But going on the street, when even private sector workers were walking during the protest.
There was also an LLC protest that just happened this year too, where people were of the opinion that they should, call all the people that happen to be part of the National Electricity Regulatory Commission.
The nationwide strike by NSC didn't work well
because of national grid shutdown.
Those critical areas were not affected.
No, all right, let me bring were shut down.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. For too long. That's why most times, you see, why I'm saying this is, I covered labor for 9 years. I know the intricacies of organizing protests and strikes. You understand? That's why I always I keep saying that.
So you think government will not allow this one to happen?
They won't allow it.
Because they know the implications.
They won't allow it. You see, most time when I come here to talk, I tell you, you remember the other day I said, they will not allow Ajero to remain 1 minute after 12 midnight if they don't have serious allegations against him. And what happened? You see, they are not oblivious of the fact that if anything goes wrong, they can be swept off.
Okay.
And they don't want to be swept off.
All right then, John, let me bring this back to your table, John. Now, we're also hearing that the concessioning of the airport it's still a conversation, concessioning of a major airport. And there are feelers that government is more interested in the money-making aspect of things, talking about the toll gates, the car parks. These are areas that the airport agencies, FAN, NCAA, they get monies from. There are feelers that government is more interested in taking over those aspects. That's why they're talking about concessioning of the airports. Is that what we should be talking about at this time? Concessioning of the airports. And what does this portend for a nation's economy if the airports are handed over to private individuals as against government itself taking charge of operations? Well, do we still have John Akirile with us? Well, John, I would like for you to unmute your microphone if that's what is keeping us from hearing your voice right now. Well, you might need to do that again, John, because we still can't hear you. All right, then. Unfortunately, we cannot hear you, John, so I guess I'll just throw the question to Barrister Adams.
You see, there's this particular region they used to call USSR. Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, what happened was that USSR was now balkanized into many countries. Before then, there's a particular president or prime minister, his name is Boris Yeltsin. He came up with some policies that were not working. Then you now have what they call, another person came what they call Gorbachev. Gorbachev now came in and introduced the economy of glasnost and perestroika, that is openness.
And restructuring.
Yeah, and restructuring. It's called glasnost and perestroika. Open up a particular closed economy before. And one of the reasons he gave while he was doing this was that, how long will we begin to close our economy and not open it up? The laissez-faire which American and other civilized countries, prosperous countries practice has to come to Russia. People blamed him, and you can testify today how the Russian Federation is moving on. Now, what am I trying to say? You see, we live in a mercantilist, era, contemporary times. So concessioning is not a crime. Even most of the airports in the world, most of the famous airports in the world, where are concessions. In the UK, for instance, there are airports you don't even know the names, but a lot of us know Heathrow, we hear Gatwick, etc. Gatwick is a concession airport. In the US, you have a lot of them because the states cannot manage, all the airports in a large country like Nigeria. So I would, support if they do a concession.
The argument also is why concession major airports?
Yes.
There are other airports that you can concession and bring to life, as against Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt.
They concentrate there because they feel they are doing politics with it. That is the only country I've seen that people will say, no, we deserve an airport. Not because of the fact that there's a need for an airport. They say we deserve an airport because let our people have an airport. No, airport is not a bag of gari or a bag of cassava used to dash people, whatever the case may be.
But with the recent movement and trends happening, don't you think it is high time we have airports for easy movement and transportation in Nigeria?
For instance, I want to ask a question, a rhetorical one. In Edo State, the governor of the state said he was going to, open an airport at the Edo northern part of Nigeria. You ask yourself the question, the northern part of Edo, Auchi, a community of about 500,000 people. There is no bustling life of economic activities that is, high and bustle. From Abuja to that particular place is not up to a 3 hours drive on a good day, on a smooth road. You understand? Why are you starting an airport there? It will not be commercially viable. That's why you find that most of the airports we have today in Nigeria are infested with rodents and serpents. Because there are no commercial and commensurate, uses of that particular airport. So you don't just cite airport because of the fact that you want it to be somewhere in your village. No. Now, what needs to be done? I said I'm not an expert in aviation. But from my own little man's and layman's knowledge, I would suggest Murtala Mohammed International Airport, from the deliverables and what government gets from that airport on a monthly basis, if you concession it, you'll be very shocked and surprised that you'll get turnover about 10 times.
All right then.
Because that is one of the biggest airports in Africa and one of the busiest airports in the world.
All right then. Well, I know there are questions, for follow-up questions to come. But now that we have John Akerele back online with us, I would like John to respond. John is a Nigerian in diaspora, and he's probably, worked, been around, airports and understands the operations of things around there. John, please, if you have heard the question, please go ahead.
I think for me, we as the people of this culture, can you point to
John, we have a bit of a problem with the ambience. Your ambience sound, if you could, I understand that you are on the move. You have to be at work. Yes, it's a lot better now. Go ahead.
Now, what I'm saying is, if you look at us as a people, check our history. We have this history of lack of maintenance when it comes to public amenities. Tell me one governmental property that you say that is working well, but you look at private entities, they prosper. Look at our athletes. When they go represent other countries, they come home with gold. So it means that there is something wrong with us as a people. And I go with the barrister saying that maybe if some of these things are concession. Now we do things based on region, that religiosity and ethnic bigotry is still one of our problems that we should deal with. Now, can we as a people start looking at our strengths and not our differences? If the northern part of the country will be good in agriculture, why not there be the food basket of the nation? If the southwestern part will be for education, why not let have multi-universities? If the eastern part will be for industries and they can have 10 airports, why not let have it that way? So that every region can develop at their own pace with their own uniqueness. And that's what we can say indeed that we're united people. But for now, you know, even if this administration means well for people, going by their policies, going by their actions, going by, you know, flippy-flapping attitude in terms of policy making, going by the attitude of the political class, the leaders, the I don't care attitude, it shows that we all need to come back to the drawing board and ask ourselves, do we really want Nigeria to work?
All right, John.
If we want Nigeria to work, then we ask ourselves, there are some things that we should not do. You know, the airspace or the airport or the aviation industry is such an industry that should not be toyed with at all. It's one of our most sensitive industry, you know, that's a gateway to the world.
John, thank
for
you.
Me,
Mr. Akorele, thank you. Sorry to cut your line of thought. We'll come back to you. Please do stay with us. Yes, Mr. Fanimo, Fearless October 1. The DSS has put in Showore's name on the watch list and said that the moment he steps into the airport, into Nigeria, that he should be arrested. You also know what has happened with PDOM. David Hundeyin is on the watch list too. He's been declared wanted by the same DSS, Nigerian government. Putting together all of this, do you think that Fearless October 1 is going to happen?
Let me start by telling you that no government, what it solves, will be comfortable when the administration is being threatened.
Threatened, you say?
Yes.
Threatened by?
That, if you say you want fearless protest in October, if I'm on the side of government, I will have sleepless nights. Okay. Because given the antecedents of protest, strike in this country, it could lead to some other things. So they are G3. Government is G3. And in this case, we just saw what happened in the End Bad Governance protest. And less than 2 months, we are going into another round of protest. Given the prevailing situation in the country, today you and I, you know that you tread cautiously even around town. Because slight touch ignites fire these days at the bus stops, everywhere. Even in your offices, ordinary banters can be misconstrued. So now, what government is trying to do, which I am not in support of, is trying to clamp down on decent voices. For me, if Showore wants to come to Nigeria, he's a free citizen. He has not committed any crime. I don't see any reason why they should say he cannot come in. He is not somebody that had been charged with treasonable felony or he has jumped to bail. Nothing of such has happened. The other person, Hundeyi, he has not been charged. He's not on the... Thank God a lawyer is in the studio. If you have not been placed on watch list on basis of a crime, just because you feel that this person is not somebody I can allow to move freely, to roam freely within the country.
Mr. Fanimo, what I'm saying, in the light of all this that is happening, do you think Nigerians will pour out by October 1 to protest?
Let me tell you, Nigerians will still come out. All they need is that leadership. And that leadership that they look up to for them to come out is what government is trying to stifle. If the likes of Showore is coming into the country and Showore says he's leading, he has his structure, he has his people that he can galvanize.
All right then. I know you want to respond.
I want to respond specifically, yes.
But can you hold on to that?
Okay, all right.
And then we'll take you during concluding thoughts because we're absolutely out of time. Next conversation. John, would like for you to stay with us. John is joining us from Tokyo, I do believe. Yes. Well, John, do stay with us, and we'll like for you to respond also to the next topic. Now, coming up next, Dangote Refinery has warned that 97% of its petrol may be exported. Well, let's talk about this one when we come back from this very short break.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Dangote Refinery has revealed plans to export up to 97% of its premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, due to the low local demand from Nigerian marketers, with only 3 to 5% willing to purchase its products. Edwin Novakuma, the Vice President of Oil and Gas of Dangote Industries, has said that the refinery, with a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day, had hoped to reduce Nigeria's reliance on imported fuel. However, local marketers have refused to engage, and that has forced the refinery to seek international markets for its diesel, jet fuel, and other products, impacting the country's fuel pricing and availability. In a related development, Mr. Devakuma Edwin also disclosed that Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has requested a permanent presence at the refinery to oversee crude oil supply and product purchases. Despite efforts to stimulate local demand, including reducing prices from 1,200 to 900 naira per litre, marketers have raised concerns over the impact on their businesses, leaving the Dangote refinery to rely on exports to maintain operations. We still have in the studio with us Barrister Asim Adams and our in-house guest, Mr. Dele Fanimo. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us.
Pleasure.
Mr. Fanimo, let me come to you. We are back to this Dangote refinery of the king again. And look at what's going on. Dangote refinery says 97% of their products may be pushed to the world market, export. That only about 3% to 5% of their product, that Nigerians are willing to buy only 3 to 5% of their products. Meanwhile, the NNPCL also told us that they were the sole buyers of Dangote fuel. Mr. Fanimo, where does that leave us? Please, can you help us make sense of it?
I am tired of going beyond the surface to talk about this refinery issue and the imbroglio between NNPCL and Dangote Refinery. But if you want me to comment on what is pushed out there, I'll tell you that it is not good for our economy, and it's not good for the future that somebody has invested so much, over $20 billion, to produce, to add value to what we produce in Nigeria, because the crude is crude until it is refined. And when it is refined, you get byproducts. Aviation sector is there waiting for Jet A1. You have the industry relying on diesel.
Sorry to cut you. They don't seem to have problems with jet fuel and diesel. The problem is with...
No, I am just telling you that they have need for it. Then the masses, the transport system rely on petrol. Now, we were talking about the wastages that revolve around imports in the last 25, 30 years. And somebody has taken up the gauntlet to say, let's put an end to this. He has invested his private money. The only equity government has in this refinery, as of today, is about 7.2%. right? Now, he's telling us that I am ready. I want to dispense. And
do you really think he's ready to, he's ready?
I have said that on 2 or 3 occasions.
Yes, but we're asking you again.
Nobody wants to believe me.
So you think he's
I'm
ready?
still coming back to that. I'm just saying, on the surface,
let's go deeper.
If you want us to go deeper, then I'll tell you that Dangote is not ready.
How do you mean?
Good.
Again.
It started about 2 weeks ago. In 48 hours, we'll pump fuel. And I came here and I said, it's not going to happen.
You don't think it's government and its agencies trying to trample on him?
After that, just 3 days later, he said he's also ready, but NNP said is not willing to buy. And then NNP said he's willing to buy. Suddenly, while we are in the studio, something came up and it said it won't be ready until 15th of September.
Yes.
15th of September is
in
Monday.
2 days. In 2 days.
No, next tomorrow.
This weekend.
It's in 2 days.
Next tomorrow.
On Sunday.
Okay, on Sunday.
Yeah.
Now, we are close to 15th. Another thing is
But they said they've not agreed on price.
The point is, if I am a producer of a particular commodity and I have the liberty to sell my commodity to anywhere, must you make a show of it?
Mr. Adams, NNPCL has requested a permanent office
inside
Dangote Refinery. What do you make out of that?
You see, in medicine, maybe doctors who are listening to me right now, there's what we call lobotomy. When you have a lobotomy surgery, it means that your frontal lobe of the brain is removed from the back side of the brain. And while they are working on you to bring that your brain back, you are brain dead. That you cannot reason. Even if they fix that lobe back, to you, you cannot reason well. Unfortunately, Nigeria, my country, is a lobotomized state. Everything in Nigeria is becoming backwards, and we're having problem of recollecting and trying to do things the normal way human beings should do it. For instance, number one, you could not. The refineries we have today were built by the military. From 1999 to date, not even a single modular refinery was built by any democratic or civil government in Nigeria today. Then you now left the ones that were built and you met in comatose state. And all of them, every day we keep hearing that NNPC received, they paid the refinery workers and they're doing nothing. Now a man now came, he's not a foreigner, a Nigerian, came and put up one of the biggest refineries in the world within just 2 years for something you could not do for 40 years. Instead of you to make the Dangote refinery a national heritage, you are doing everything to pull that particular industry down and sink the man. It was in this country that we found out that a director of NNPC came and said that the diesel that's going to be churned out from that refinery has some chemical additives that are not to whatever the case may be. You are demarketing that particular institution.
Okay.
What am I trying to say in essence is this. There is politics that is going on. And that politics is weighing down and it's bringing down the Dangote refinery. I read Kingsley Mongalu say, statement, a whipping one for that matter, about the canker political, whatever that is happening between government and the Dangote, whatever. Finally on this, let me tell you what is happening. They want to bring bureaucracy into a private business. The difference between a government organization and the private one, why the private one thrive, is because of the fact that quick action.
All right, now,
results.
Thank you.
But Nigeria, as case may be, they want to bring it down so that it becomes a child that was born but cannot crawl and walk.
Okay.
It's so sad.
Now, John Okerele, thank you for staying with us.
Quite the analysis there.
Yeah, exactly. And a big reason. But looking at this issue between Dangote Refinery and NNPCL, the trail that actually happened. First, it was the accusation of high sulfur in diesel. Then we had about the Malta blending plant, which also paved way for the amount of stake NNPCL have in Dangote Refinery. And the issue has been going on till this particular time. We also have that of OVH now having the retail arm of NNPCL. John, what do you really make of this? And where does this leave Nigeria as an oil-producing economy in the world?
Thank you. I think first thing for us to note is that we are an oil-producing nation. And since I was born until now, I've been hearing that we've been doing refinery maintenance, Port Harcourt, Warri Refinery, Kaduna Refinery. And in my lifetime, I'm still alive though, none of it have actually produced 1 liter of crude or fuel, not even 1 liter till now. And if you check the budget year in, year out, billions upon billions are allocated to maintenance of refinery that is not doing anything. For me, if Dangote would take out his 97% fuel to other countries of the world, so be it. It shows to you that Nigeria is not ready to work. The powers that be are not ready to work. John, there was a time we were shouting, we don't have refinery. Now please, we have refinery. We don't have crude.
Allow me interrupt you. Allow me interrupt you. Is it that Dangote is not ready to supply, or the system is frustrating him? Because you're saying if he wants to take out 97%, he should go ahead. But the man is saying, look, I want to supply, but marketers are not coming to buy. NNPC has gone from being a monopoly to a monopoly. So now they want to be the sole buyers of his products. Now, NNPC is also saying, look, we want to station 6 to 10 individuals that will have our interest within the refinery, create offices for these people, so they will monitor. This is the same NNPC that has been accused of bringing in bad fuel into the country. What do you think is it that the man is not ready, or the system is what is frustrating him, his efforts?
Moses, what is happening actually show you how Nigeria is, and that's why Nigeria is not working. If you want to make Nigeria work, there are people who don't want this country to work, and so they will make you look stupid, even with your brilliant ideas. Nigerian and the so-called cohort will make you, ask yourself, brilliant people in Nigeria are so useless, but when they get outside the shores of Nigeria, you see them fly high. Then ask yourself, what is it about our country? Somebody will go and say he wants to run for Olympic. They will say they don't have jersey for him. This person will not go to another country that will give him jersey, and you see him come back with gold. A Nigerian name, flying the flag of another country. Some people, and those of Dangote's friends who are advising him not to put in that money are now mocking him. Most is what that is doing for us. One is that it will discourage foreign direct investment. As a businessman, you cannot go outside Nigeria and market Nigeria to these people because they read the news.
But the president is marketing Nigeria to the world. But the president is marketing Nigeria to the world. You think the president is doing so? He's trying to bring in
let's not fool ourselves. Let's not fool ourselves, please. Let's not fool ourselves. See, those trips you are doing, the main news, these people get it by themselves. I'm here. They tell me things about Nigeria. I'm here. I don't even know. So leave all these. We are going on trip. Those ones are not what really matters. I'm telling you things that matters here. Even if the president go on, okay, look at all these Dubai trips that we have secured this amount of investment in billions of dollars. Where are the investment now? Almost is 1 year down the line. The India trip, where are the investment now? So what I'm saying is, if you don't take your own home investor serious, it shows that the body language, things that you're not saying with your mouth, they can read it between the lines. If somebody who is a Nigerian can invest over $20 billion in your economy,
and you are treating him like that, and you want the foreigner to come and invest such an amount in that country, it will work.
All right.
John, don't you think that we have external bodies playing a part to make sure that Dangote Refinery do not really see the light of the day, given the fact that he made a statement that the cabal in the oil sector is higher than that in the drug, sector also. And we also heard about how some Nigerian journalists are being poached also to write or drop some, information that can also help to deface, to cripple Dangote Refinery.
You see, that is not is normal in Nigeria. It's just a propaganda of demarketing that man. But I can tell you something. Let's be on record that I, John Akrile, say this to you. If Nigeria continues to frustrate Dangote and Dangote start exporting his crude or his refined product to other parts of the world, you will see that the real quality test of those products will come online. And then Dangote, as a person, as an entity, and as a company, will be vindicated. And then we'll ask yourself, who is now lying to us, the Nigerian people? Okay. So for me, let's be careful. Dangote is somebody that I like so much, and I think leave the fact that it's a northerner, leave there is the monopoly. For now, that is the only working refinery we can be proud of as giant of Africa. And so we must do everything humanly possible to make sure that Dangote refines in Nigeria and even sells towards Nigeria. Let me tell you, if Dangote can supply Nigerians 650,000 barrels of crude oil daily, it means that there will be a drastic reduction in the cost of importation. The cost of what you are buying presently now at a 1213, 950, 850, that price will crash drastically. And then we can ask ourselves, where are those loopholes that will be blocked?
Okay, all right.
So it means that there are some people that have been eating this money for like 40 years.
All right, John.
They don't want to leave this country to breathe.
All right, John.
My word to them is allow Nigeria to breathe.
Okay, well, the president also said, yes, let the poor breathe. But unfortunately,
I wanted to add something to what John has said. Okay. Let me say with your respect, from what we gathered, statistics we gathered, by 2025, Dangote and his conglomerates are going to be earning about $30 billion. The Nigerian government, with their crude reserves, even say, let's say, sell crude to the whole world. Sell, don't even bring money back home. What the Nigerian government will accrue from whatever says they have export is about 20 billion. So there's a seeming threat by a cabal that are saying the Dangote refinery as a place where they have to go there and hibernate and participate and, bring in, that corruption contraption into it for them to make money, as the case may be, slowing down. That is number one. The second one is this. Let me tell you why they are doing all these things. If you go to section 16 of the 1999 Constitution, I think sub 4, it talks about monopoly. It talks about monopoly. That's why NNPC and whatever they are trying to, enter into Dangote as a private concern. And that particular section says that the government will encourage Nigerians to invest and do production things as case may be. But insofar as they do not what, they have to checkmate monopolies of individuals, etc., as the case may be. That is why you see they are using that weapon now to infiltrate and enter into Dangote, not for the general good of the country, but for their own personal interest and aggrandizement. The cabal we're talking about, who are the cabals? The cabals are Nigerians. The Nigerians that made NNPC prostrate. The Nigerian cabal that made the refineries prostrate. The Nigerians that operate, that want to kill anything that do not benefit them, are the ones who are eating up Dangote as case may be. Dangote is very ready to do export, even export. If you think that maybe what I'm saying is a fallacy, please remove this gag, remove these inhibitions, and see whether the next 1 minute Dangote will not begin to export oil out of Nigeria.
Mr. Fanny,
they are very ready. But the problem we have It's like this ferocious cabal. Then the electricity sector, then the agricultural sector, they are now come back to the oil sector. The crude oil theft etc. is not enough for them to fester on. So they now see a seeming very easy, opportunity for them to now, swoop in and suck that particular thing dry. They don't want the existence of that particular refinery, but it has demystified that particular instance that the government has said to build a refinery 100 years. The man demystified it 2 years. So they are ashamed of themselves. So we have to be very careful.
All right, so let's take this with your concluding thoughts, so we will not have to, disturb you again. You were trying to respond to something around the Fearless October.
Yes.
As you make your concluding thoughts both on this and the topic we shared earlier.
Good.
We have about a minute, please.
Okay, about a minute. Let me tell you, I want to say with due respect, the last NSAS bad governance, I did not participate because I was saying, let's see, this government is going to respond. This 8-point demand, the government is going to act very actively and very quickly. But I waited, nothing happened. Instead of that, arrest here and there. Now let me tell you, people tell you that the judicature, that is judiciary in Nigeria now, knows that what the particular government is doing is practical. Knows that what the government of Nigeria today arresting and doing about treason, etc., is making a mockery of the word treason. Treason is the second highest offense in Nigeria. Look at what happened. Look at what happened now. To tell you that the courts now saw that these charges that they brought are practical. They now gave bail of 10 million naira. Prison is death penalty. Prison, like murder, you don't get bail easily. Yes, like murder, you don't get bail easily.
Well, how
now you find that the cost that granted bail, cost granted bail of 10 million naira to people that were charged.
Do you think the people that were complaining of not having food to eat will be able to pay?
No, that was that. I'm telling you that. To tell you that the judicature, those of them who are there, who knows that if you bring a treasonable offense or felony matter to their court, they know that this man will spend eternity in jail, in custody. But the court said, 10 million naira. So assuming the people are able to raise 10 million, they go scot-free. Now, if you now, make that kind of situation, make it look so little, it tells you that the charges that they have before them are trump-up charges. Now, question is this: is it not an aberration? It's just like Edmund Burke said that power does not corrupt people; people corrupt power.
All right.
And finally, on this, I'm sorry with due respect. You know that I'm bitter. I'll join the fearless.
Okay.
I'll join the fearless in my own, community, as the case may be. Okay. I will not be violent, but certainly on a civil. Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King situation, civil disobedience. That's what I support. As stop, threatening all of us. It's not going.
Anyway, we would like for you to come back much later, another time, and tell us why NBA that said it will protect these people that are going out to protest. We haven't heard NBA's voice in all of this, but maybe another time.
Yes.
Mr. Dele, your concluding thoughts, please.
Fearless is going to happen October 1st, come October 1st. Nothing can stop it, except between now and October 1st, we begin to see changes from what it is today. And we are not likely to get that for now, because the Dangote imbroglio will continue.
Okay.
Workers will threaten strike. And government today is about figures and not humans. And as long as we thrive on figures and not humans, we are not likely to get the ears of those in government today. So it's still a gloomy picture ahead. But I just pray that the October 1st fearless does not snowball into a crisis of high proportion.
Okay. Prayers there. Prayers again. This one not in your mailboxes now, just out there. All right, so let me come back to John. John, your concluding thoughts in about 10 minutes, please.
All right, Moses, my concluding thought is simple. I just want to beg Nigerian government. One is that let your body language show that indeed you want the country to work. Support Dangote Refinery and make sure that we start buying fuel from Dangote in Nigeria. That will bring down the issue of fuel subsidy. That will cut down the issue of importation cost and the likes. And so for me, that's the only way we can do to grow our own economy. God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria indeed. Big thanks to you, John Akirile, journalist and a public affairs commentator talking to us from Japan. Also, we must say a very big thank you to Dele Fafanimo for your time and your thoughts on the program. He's also a journalist and a social critic and, of course, a political analyst. We've also been speaking with Barrister Asim Adams, social and political commentator and analyst. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time and your thoughts on the program. We'll take a break now. Trends is up next.
Thank you so much for staying with us. The conversation kind of keeps happening even behind the camera. The trends today, Islamic singer Ibrahim Labeka has announced his resignation from his position as special assistant to the governor of Kwara State, stating that he is tired of taking his salary for doing nothing. Labeka, who has been a prominent figure in the state's administration, cited his dissatisfaction with the nature of his role as the primary reason for his departure. Labeka, known for his soulful and inspiring Islamic music, took to social media to share his decision with his fellow and express his frustration with the lack of meaningful work in his position, adding that he believes in earning his keep and contributing positively to society. Unfortunately, his role as special assistant has not allowed him to do that. The singer's resignation has sparked a wave of reaction from the public and political commentators alike. We have a comment from Alex. Alex said, one of the few that has conscience, and I wish all our leaders can be like this, including Tinubu. And H. Pyramid said, if my majority of them can be like this, Nigeria will definitely move forward, and all of them collecting salaries for doing nothing. It is well. Moses, do you share the same idea? Talking about people waking up to say, I'm not being paid for me to do a job, I'm not defending my salary, thereby I resign.
It's not something we're used to in this climb. But if his reasons are, like he has stated, I still have a problem accepting his reasons though. But if his reasons are like he has stated, I'm not going to push it. I'll just say, okay, it's a good one. It shows that you have a conscience and you actually want to show working, as they put it. You show working in whatever it is you're doing. Yeah. So yes, we wish him well in his future endeavors. All the best to him.
All right, the 2024 MTV.
I have something to say as well.
Finn, I have something to talk about.
All right,
this.
go ahead.
The young man, I understand, is a singer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's special assistant to the governor on artist matters.
Yeah.
If I were the governor of that state, I would reject this his resignation, recall him, and then I'll fire him.
Why so?
Yes,
why
because
so?
he brought nothing to the table. I mean, this is an artist who is a singer. And he couldn't bring anything to the table. I think
anything to the table
like we said earlier.
To organize shows with artists and raise money.
When people are hungry, who is going to come for the show? We have tables that people sell during shows.
You are going to talk about MVA.
Will the insecurity also be devil in Nigeria? Who is going to allow him or herself to be there?
The young man just wanted to gain publicity.
Talking about entertainment, the 2024 MTV Video Music Award saw South African sensation Tyler take home the coveted Best Afrobeat Award for her hit single, Water. However, what should have been a moment of pure celebration quickly turned into a hotbed of controversy and debate. Tyler, who was nominated alongside prominent artists such as Thames, Star, Davido, and Burna Boy, used her victory speech to address the classification of African artists under the Afrobeat genre. She expressed her dissatisfaction, stating that she identifies more with the Amapiano genre rather than Afrobeats. This statement did not sell well with fans who took to his social media to voice their disapproval. Some netizens pointed out that Tyler wins in the Afrobeat category was ironic, given a strong association with Amapiano. All right, this is a comment from Peter. Blame the organizers because they know what they are doing. They are not happy. Nigerian artists are taking over the world stage and leaving every other people behind, including the American artists. And so they are trying to suppress us. You see this song, this Water, and Tyler, we could recall when there was I think BET award. She won. She won, yeah. She won. And Nigerians were like, what is happening? Why would that? And now again in Afrobeat category, she also won that award.
Oh, well, the classification is what I have a problem with.
Okay.
It seems because Afrobeat has, made popularity, has gathered a lot of popularity. Every African artist is now,
say to be an Afrobeat
packed up around that. Well, there are other genres in Africa, and I don't think it's fair to the likes of Burna Boy, to the likes of Wizkid, to those that make Afrobeat as it is. I don't think it's fair. So I think these organizations should do more research and rename the categories as against just putting all Africans into one category, so it won't look like they're not giving Africans a chance. Oh well.
Do you really think they understand what Afrobeat is all about, given the fact that it didn't come from them?
Like I said, they just think because it's from Africa, it's Afrobeat.
All right, and that's all we have on Trends today.
All right then.
And I think that's also how we draw the curtain on today's show on VOP TV this morning. On behalf of my humble self, Fina Okechukwu, and the amiable gentlemen, Moses Humphrey and Chukuma Okoro, we say enjoy the rest of your weekend and also try as much as you can to be a patriotic citizen. Remember that 9 a.m. on the dot is the newspaper review on Voice of the People TV. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.